guys in action, number 11 and numero uno, respectively, on our SCG Tour leaderboard for the Player of the Year race. Jessup looking to get to the Players' Championship. Jeff Hoogland already headed that way. They're about to be given the green light, and we will begin things as Jeff starts off with a hissing quagmire early Sunday morning. Who do we like here and why? I mean, green-white tokens is kind of the boogeyman of the format, but you said you like what Jeff's up to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he showed up with these, demonic tutor effects, and then he's got a lot of silver bullets here that he's going to want to play against some of these decks. So the main deck, Virulent Plague, is just a nod to how good green-white tokens is in this format.
Sylvan Advocate to play there for Jeff on turn number 2. For Andrew Jessup, he has a Sylvan Advocate as well. He found a Plains off of that Oath of Nissa, so things are pretty straightforward here for each player. A Ruinous Path will take care of the Sylvan Advocate, and Jeff will serve in with his. Jessup will fall down to 18, and we are very much underway here in round number 10 of action. For Jessup, we'll see if he has some sort of Planeswalker to play this turn. It would be Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, and you can see a basic forest. There is the Nissa. He will make a plant, tick the Nissa up to 4, and that will be his turn. You saw Jeff use a Ruinous Path already to take care of that Sylvan Advocate. It means he's got one less answer to a Planeswalker. A Canopy Vista is his play so far. He's going to fire up Hissing Quagmire and start going after Nissa. Nissa's going to fall down to 2. The plant will block one of those creatures to keep Nissa alive, and now we'll head back over to Jessup, who will draw a Canopy Vista.
This is kind of where Jeff wants to be in this matchup, just trading some early resources, make sure he doesn't get too far behind, and then he's got some pretty powerful cards to catch him back up later in the game.
You want to keep green-white on the back foot as best you can.
Yeah.
But they can turn the corner pretty quickly with cards like Archangel Avacyn, Hangerback Walker, Evolutionary Leap, all of that stuff.
Yes, but the real power of the deck is when they just go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop.
Yeah.
2 Planeswalkers in there, and all their early stuff gives them so much advantage that the later stuff snowballs out of control.
Yeah, you see here, and this is going to make another plant. It's going to tick back up to 3. It's just, kind of an annoying threat. Now here's a face-down Den Protector, a land, here's a Canopy Vista, and pass the turn back. So we're going to head back Jeff's way. We'll see what he can do about this, because now he wants to take care of probably Den Protector and Nissa. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be difficult to take care of both in the same turn. And that morph, I think, at this stage, we all know is Den Protector.
Sure.
Given what green-white tokens deck lists have looked like over the past couple of weeks, they're starting to main deck a couple copies of Den Protector. You're not really going to find Hidden Dragon Slayer or a card I haven't seen in a really long time, Death Mist Raptor.
Yeah, Wizards hasn't done that good of a job of giving us other morphs to mix it up.
Yeah, to play the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeff does play a land. The Advocate's going to go after the Nissa. The plant token will jump in the way. Curious to see what Jeff wants to do next here. He'll go with Ruinous Path on Den Protector.
And it looks like Jeff has a Languish in his hand. One more turn and he can Languish and keep his Sylvan Advocate on the board.
Now, in that instance, you saw Jeff use the Ruinous Path on the Den Protector, not the Nissa. Wouldn't really make a lot of sense to kill the Planeswalker when there's a face-down Den Protector on the battlefield.
Yeah, it just comes right back.
Yeah. Next up for Jessup is a Declaration in Stone.
This actually lines up pretty well for Jeff because he's got 2 open mana this turn.
A Fortified Village and a plant. Jeff will cash in the clue. He'll draw a card. Didn't get a great look at it as he does untap those 5 lands, head into his 6th turn of the game. Looks like some Evolving Wilds are involved right now for Jeff. He does have to play some copies of that card, given that he has 3 colors this weekend. At least 1 copy in hand, also a Swamp over there.
Yeah, and the checklist card is probably the Nissa Vastwood Seer.
Gotcha. Hissing Quagmire going to go after the Planeswalker. Plant token jumps in the way. There is an Evolving Wilds, and Jeff will simply pass the turn back over to Jessup.
He's being very patient here.
And Jessup going to draw. Nissa on 4. 5 mana available, which means he's in the sweet spot for Archangel Avacyn. He will make a plant. Nissa goes up to 5. And perhaps it's Gideon time. It is. So the Voice of Zendikar and the Ally of Zendikar are both on the battlefield. It's green-white's 1-2 punch, these 2 Planeswalkers. He'll make a Night Ally and simply pass the turn back. Jeff's going to sacrifice the Evolving Wilds on Andrew's end step. Feels like Jeff's in a little bit of trouble now.
Yeah, Jessup's board is starting to just get too strong. The creatures obviously aren't a huge threat, but Nissa's starting to get pretty high up there in loyalty counters. That ultimate, we know, draws tons of cards, tons of life. And the Gideon, if it just turns on and starts dealing 5 a turn, that's quite the clock.
Hoogland will draw. You mentioned the fact that he does have Nissa Vastwood Seer in hand. That can transform because he does have a 7th land to play. But oddly enough, that might be the worst of the 3 Planeswalkers that are on the battlefield if it does come down. Well, I'm not sure Hoogland has any better option. So there is Nissa. There'll be a trigger, of course, to search for a basic forest, assuming Jeff has any left in his deck, which I'd be surprised if he doesn't. So there is the basic forest. That'll be the land for the turn. And we'll get a transformation of Nissa into the Sage Animist. Up or down now is the question with the Planeswalker. Down brings a 4/4 along with it. Up could yield some pretty good results.
Yeah, I think Jeff's on the back foot enough here where he needs to draw a powerful card to get him back into this game.
Sorin's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
Can't cast it right now, unfortunately, but it is powerful and does give him something to do on the next turn. And Jeff does have the mana available to Languish here, but this is what makes green-white a pretty difficult deck to beat, is Languishing them is just meh.
Yeah. Those tokens were just free carded for Andrew Jessup.
Yep. To Andrew Jessup will go. First place right now in this tournament, number 11 overall on the SCG Tour leaderboard. And a pretty good position for this particular game. Gideon appears to be going up. It's up to 5 now. Nissa is going down. So Gideon will get a +1/+1 counter, as will the Knight Ally and the plant. And it's time to go into the red zone here. Nissa Sage Animist dies very quickly. Not too surprising there. There's a forest from Jessup, and he'll simply pass the turn back. Hoogland will draw.
Looked like another Ruinous Path there.
I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Got to get some of these Planeswalkers off the battlefield. Now, the question, of course, is does he want to awaken the Ruinous Path or just simply cast it? It looks like we're having that question answered very quickly, which is he'd like to awaken it and turn on Evolving Wilds. And he's going to go after Nissa now. But Archangel Avacyn is here.
Always.
It really is.
An angel to save the day.
Yep. It gets itself indestructible, takes care of the Awoken Evolving Wilds, and now Jessup is really in the driver's seat. It's an Oath of Nissa. He'll take a look at the top 3. A forest, a plains, and a forest, so nothing exciting there for Andrew. He'll take his forest. Looks like that'll be his land for the turn. But maybe not.
So he's got that Dromoka's Command in his hand. If he ticks down with Nissa, the Archangel Avacyn is already a 5/5 out of the range of the Languish. And the Knight Ally is a 4/4, and he can tick it up 1 more with the Dromoka's Command +1/+1 counter, and just have 2 massive threats that are out of the range of Languish.
Here come the beatdowns. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage going to come across. Jeff's going to fall down to 12. Nissa's going to make a plant. And we're going to head Jessup's way after he does play that forest he found off of Oath of Nissa. Hoogland will draw. It is Languish time. Maybe a little surprised not to see Jessup use that Nissa.
I kind of wish Jessup had been a little more conservative.
Because now Languish does cause a little bit of a problem. And Andrew does know that Jeff has Sorin in hand.
Yeah.
That's kind of a follow-up after this. Here's Dromoka's Command. Going to put a counter on Archangel Avacyn to keep it around.
Yeah, it's not a complete disaster, but I just feel like Jessup could have been in a much better position.
Swamp.
The Avacyn's still going to transform.
Yep.
Making a big 7 power creature. Deal 3 to Jeff. He's still in the driver's seat here.
A Sylvan Advocate. And Jeff passes the turn back. Now here's Avacyn the Purifier. 3 damage is going to be dealt, of course. And you mentioned a large flyer out there. That's exactly what Avacyn the Purifier is.
Yeah, lots of draw steps just kind of kill Jeff here, too.
I guess that's true, actually.
A Nissa, Gideon, a Dromoka's Command.
Yep. Let's see what this is. A Den Protector, I think.
Yep.
It is if Jessup sees the play, of course, which I'd be surprised if he doesn't, given his 9-0 record. Unmegamorph the Den Protector, get back Dromoka's Command. Dromoka's Command here, put a counter there, fight there. Goodbye, Sylvan Advocate. Down tick the Nissa. Does Jeff Hoogland have a ultimate price? The answer is no. And Andrew Jessup is going to win game number 1 here over Jeff Hoogland. Green-white tokens up a game over Abzan Seasons Past. Some grinding back and forth, but Jeff was not able to grind him all the way down.
Yep.
And again, we see the power of the Planeswalkers
Yeah.
and Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah, Jeff kind of had to burn through a couple early Ruinous Paths.
Yep.
And then he just didn't have them when he needed them.
Yeah. Ruinous Path is certainly taxing this matchup. You want to kill a lot of the creatures, but you also need to kill those Planeswalkers. And we really saw, again, the power of Nissa that game. It stayed around from turn 3 on.
Yeah, it seems so innocuous the first couple of turns. You're like, oh, 0-1, 0-1, who cares? Like, plants never killed anyone, you know? But once it starts ticking down and all your guys are getting bigger and you haven't dealt any damage to the opponent, you see just how much advantage was gained by it.
We go to the sideboards. We will start with Jeff Hoogland. He's got 3 Duress, 2 Den Protector, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Kalida's Trader of Get, 2 Lambhold Pacifist, an Ultimate Price, a Dragonlord Dromoka, an Infinite Obliteration, and a Seasons Past. What do we like here, Craig, and why?
I expect Jeff to get even more controlling if that's possible for his deck. The Duresses line up really well with what the green-white tokens decks are trying to do. They don't have that many creatures, so you're usually going to be able to pick off a good spell from them. And just getting the information about what's in their hand is very important. So Duresses, Transgress the Mind is powerful. Kalida's Trader of Get is actually great. It's a life-linking threat that the green-white tokens deck doesn't deal with very well. The ultimate price is good. The Dragonlord Dromoka might come in. The life gain there is just huge.
Flying's a pretty big deal,
Yeah.
too. He's got a lot of options.
Yes.
That's for sure. For Jessup's side, 2 Lambhold Pacifist, a Den Protector, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seer, a Linvala the Preserver, 2 Declaration Stone, 2 Stasis Snare, 3 Planner Outburst, and 2 Secure the Waste.
So Andrew's going to want to bring in a package that's good against opposing control strategies. So the Den Protector, the Nissa Vastwood Seers, the Secure the Waste, these all provide lots of long-term card advantage for him.
I like where Andrew's at in the matchup. I think that green-white, I mean, this matchup is always relatively close. The games go long, but what makes green-white such a powerful deck is that it's not afraid to play a long game.
Yes.
The power of the Planeswalkers lets you go long, Archangel Avacyn, Evolutionary Leap, Den Protector too.
And being the proactive player is just always an advantage as well.
That's very true. It's very true. We'll see how things do go. Jeff's going to be on the play here. While these players do shuffle up for a very important game number 2 here, given their records and what they're looking to accomplish this weekend, we will talk about regionals that is taking place in Season 2 of the SCG Tour. You do see the playmat here that the first 200 players that do sign up for the regionals will be able to get. And along with that, you'll also get a pretty sweet token. Ugh, not again.
Classic.
You got me yesterday. You don't get me today.
Okay.
Tricked me yesterday. That's our 1/1 Goblin that's on the playmat. You'll get one of those for signing up as well. You'll see the first, as I mentioned, first 200 players that do sign up, free and exclusive playmat and token for our Season 2 regionals, August 6, 2016. But, of course, there are cash and SCG points available along with the qualification to one of our next invitationals, next one being in New Jersey, where you'll see Craig Krempels playing some spells. Perhaps you do get paired against him. And last but certainly not least are the locations of these regionals. And we'll have them all over the place, including Canada for the first time ever, up in Calgary, Alberta. So find the regionals that is closest to you. Season 2, August 6, 2016. Plant your flag and learn more. Go to starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. As we've got Andrew Jessup and Jeff Hoogland in the feature match area. Jeff Hoogland down a game right now to Andrew Jessup, who we will learn a little bit more about. He is 9-0 here this weekend. He's pretty good.
The lesser Jessup?
He says he's the better Jessup.
Oh, the better Jessup.
He says
Okay,
he's the
good.
better Jessup.
Good.
That is actually his Twitter handle for the 20-year-old from New York with 4 open top 8s, 3 finals losses, unfortunately for him, so he's looking for that first title. Could be here this weekend with green-white tokens. He's 9-0, up a game right now against one of the SCG Tour's very best. I like his chances here in this matchup. I just think that green-white is really good, and it's hard to beat it 2 games out of 3, especially 2 sideboarded games.
Yeah.
It's a really, really powerful deck. So Andrew Jessup, the brother of Danny Jessup, a member of Team MetaGameGurus.com, in prime position here to make another top 8 as we're underway here in game number 2. Hogan starting off with a Hissing Quagmire, Jessup with an Oath of Nissa off of a Fortified Village. For Jeff, it's a very similar start with Sylvan Advocate as we head Jessup's way. Does he have a turn 2 play? The answer is yes, another Sylvan Advocate for him.
And we'll see if Jeff has an inclination to just kind of ignore this early Advocate this game instead of burning through some of his removal cards.
Yeah, using the Ruinous Path early to take care of the Advocate to keep the pressure on means he didn't have a Ruinous Path to actually take care of the Nissa last game.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, they're just.
I'll attack with my advocate. I'll block. I'll attack with my advocate. I will also block.
Well played, guys.
Yes. I absolutely love it. Here's Nissa yet again. Going to make a plant token. Already up to 4 counters. Now the question, of course, is does Jeff have a card like Anguish Unmaking a Ruinous Path to take care of this? It was such a problem last game.
The second attack by Jessup was much more interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's mana up for both players.
This is true. This is true. There is Ruinous Path. He's going to use it on the Sylvan Advocate, not the Nissa. A little surprised by this?
I am a little bit surprised, but I imagine Jeff has played this matchup many times, and there's a reason that he takes that course of action.
Over to Andrew we'll go. He's still got his active Nissa. Picked up a forest for the turn. He's got a Gideon in hand, too.
Oh, so consistent, this deck. It's just absurd.
Gideon is going to make a Night Ally, most likely. And Nissa will make a plant. And this is what makes this deck so frustrating to play against, just getting through this.
Yes.
Now here's Virulent. Okay, it's not as difficult to get through anymore. This makes some sense why he made the play he did.
It does make some sense.
There's a Hissing Quagmire. Advocate's going to go after Gideon.
And the post-board Virulent Plague is a problem for the green-white tokens deck because the Dromoka's commands that they would use to fight the Plague are not particularly good against most of the control decks that are going to play the Plague.
Yeah, most of the time, even though you expect a deck like this maybe to board in Kalitas, stuff like that, still most of the time you see players board out Dromoka's command.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do very much after sideboard. Gideon's going to tick up. It's a 5-power creature coming into the red zone, so Jeff's going to fall down to 15. Nissa is going to make a plant that dies immediately. A Canopy Vista and a passing of the turn here from Jessup. Now, of course, when you're playing against green-white tokens, they have 5 mana available. Your first thought is Archangel Avacyn.
Yep.
However, land at number 6 here from Jeff, pretty nice.
And it's a little bit ridiculous that even with the Plague, these Planeswalkers are an issue.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Because they still do stuff. Now, Jeff was able to fire up his Shambling Vent, land number 6, of course.
Yep.
So the Shambling Vent actually has 4 power. That with Advocate take care of the Gideon. Now here's an Archangel Avacyn. It's going to come down. Indestructible, of course. Jessup will untap and draw now.
It's a little strange that he didn't want to try to defend his Planeswalker there. Just about any removal spell that Jeff had would have killed the Avacyn at the end of the turn anyway.
Well, I guess the thought process is both those creatures are attacking the Planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
They're both 4-power creatures.
That's true.
Because Advocate has a 6th land. So there's just nothing he can do to actually protect it, so doesn't want to expose the Archangel.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, the Angel couldn't have traded with anything.
Yeah. And I think that's actually pretty smart by Jeff by not firing up the Quagmire.
Yes.
Because if he fires up the Quagmire, then the Archangel comes down and it takes care of the Quagmire. Shambling Vent has an extra point of toughness.
Yep.
4/5. So pretty good play there by Jeff.
And the lifelinking is certainly relevant as well.
Oh, yeah. Nissa up to 7. A forest and a passing of the turn. A transformation.
Yep, that token came into play and then died immediately to the Plague.
Andrew Jessup doesn't miss anything.
And Jeff needs a removal spell real bad, and he needs Jessup not to have another Angel.
No. 6 mana. Sorin is a removal spell. Sorin's going to go after Archangel. Will it work? Try and deal 5 to it. That will work. That's step 1.
Yep.
And not out of the woods yet. Gonna go after this. Does Andrew Jessup have another Archangel? The answer is no. All right. Jeff has accomplished his task, which is not letting Nissa go ultimate. Hangerback Walker the draw.
Yeah, 17 life with the Plague and a Planeswalker and the Advocate with some creature lands behind it. It looks like Jeff's in control of this game.
If he's not in control of this game, I don't know what game he's ever going to be in control in.
But it's funny because if Jessup just had another Angel there, it would have just been out of control.
Yeah, it would have been horrible.
The literal opposite.
Yeah. And I would certainly hope Jeff's in the driver's seat with his board. Jeff is expecting his Advocate to die. It's Hangerback Walker on 1. And a Nissa going down, making hanger back a 2-2. Now a Nissa.
Vastwood Seer.
Yep. That means that Jessup is letting his Voices Zendikar Nissa go.
Yeah, it lost almost all of its counters. Not getting any benefit out of that thing now.
So the Vastwood Seer transforms into the Sage Animist.
I doubt it's making a 2-2 here.
You don't think it's making a... Yes, it's 4-4. That's actually a 2-2. I have a feeling you're right.
And that Plague is just so good if it stays on the board.
Here's Evolutionary Leap.
That Hangerback Walker is not making a bunch of guys.
Plague is a really good way to fight against the green-white deck. Clearly, it's green-white tokens. Of course it would be good. I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all.
Nope.
But it is a good tool. Shambling Vent the reveal there for Soren.
Yeah, I mean, without that Plague, there'd still just be a mess of plants and knights on this board.
Yep. Canopy Vista is the land here for Jeff. He's going to fire up Shambling Vent. And now he's going to fire up another Shambling Vent. And we're attacking. We'll see which is going where. Both the Shambling Vents, which are 4/5s right now because of Sylvan Advocate, were going at Nissa. And the Sylvan Advocate was going at Andrew Jessup. So Jeff's going to gain 8 life, go up to 25. Jessup's going to fall down to 16. So we head back Andrew's way.
Yeah. Nice buffer to Jeff's life total there.
Declaration in Stone. Going to take care of the Sylvan Advocate. Jeff will get a clue. His Soren's going to bite the dust from the Hangerback Walker. And now Andrew will sacrifice the Hangerback Walker to Evolutionary Leap. Secure the waste. Ugh.
Yeah, he's glad to churn through that one.
Ugh. Here's a Sylvan Advocate. He found something that's good. Even Evolutionary Leap is kind of slowed down a little bit by the Virulent Plague.
Oh, a ton, yes.
The interaction with that and Hangerback Walker is so powerful. Here is Sylvan Advocate and passing of the turn. Jeff going to quickly untap and take a draw step here. Picked up another Sylvan Advocate. See what he's got here. He's going to start by sacrificing the clue to draw a card. Another Sylvan Advocate.
It looks like a Cletus in his hand. He's got a lot to work with.
Yep, there's 2 creatures. Cletus, Advocate, Shambling Vent for the turn. Kick it back over to Jessup.
Of course, he's never going to get a zombie because of the Virulent Plague. But each of those cards is individually powerful enough that you don't mind when they compromise each other this way.
Oath of Nissa will reveal Plains, a Declaration in Stone, and a fortified village. So Plains will go over to Jessup's hand. He'll play Plains for the turn.
And this is a situation where Jeff has so many draw steps that are just going to close out this game. A Season's Pass or one of his tutors to get the Season's Pass, and I think Jessup will have had enough.
Another Sylvan Advocate. An ultimate price.
Yeah, just killing the one creature might be enough.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that Jeff will get a token, but it'll die.
Yeah.
Because there's really playing on the battlefield. But Cletus is still powerful enough that that's perfectly fine. Zombie.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, you think so? You think they'll figure out the fact that the zombie's dead? Yeah. There it is.
Hey, I remembered and got the zombie.
That's important.
Yeah.
Don't miss that. Here come the beatdowns. Keep in mind, Vent is even bigger now because of 2 Advocates as opposed to 1. Now look, I've seen green-white come back in a lot of spots. I don't think this one.
This is a rough one.
I don't think he's coming back out of this one. Jessup will draw. Check the graveyard here. Doesn't mean he drew Den Protector. Maybe he just wants to look at his graveyard.
Well, and this is the way people usually feel when they're playing in green-white decks, where there's a bunch of diversified threats on the other side of the board. Like I can play a Wrath Effect to deal with the creatures, but they're still planeswalkers. In this case, Jeff has just a whole bunch of manlands.
Yep.
And Jessup's so far behind. There's no good draw steps here.
Yeah, even a card like Planner Outburst, which we know Andrew has access to in his sideboard, the creature lands are still going to make it so that Jeff can work through that effectively. It's just tough right now. Here is a face-down creature.
Oh, that could be anything.
It certainly could be, but we're going to confirm it is Den Protector. As there's your own Megamorph. Going to get a counter, of course. Going to get back Declaration Stone. Sylvan Advocates are going to bite the dust. Jeff will be given not 1, but 2 clues. And now here's an Advocate. So Jessup trying to fight back a little bit.
Yeah.
Jeff will draw a card immediately. He will untap. Take a draw. I believe Obnixilis and Linvala in hand.
Yeah, just has everything.
Yeah. Here is Obnixilis. Take care of the Sylvan Advocate. Jeff can actually force the blocks in his favor here.
Yep.
Because Kalidas is a 3-power creature. Andrew is at 3, so his Den Protector has to block that. Shambling Wind will come across to deal 2. It's 39-1.
Close game.
It is. Jessup will draw. No more. As Jeff Hoogland is going to tie things up here against Andrew Jessup. Obs on seasons past, green white tokens. Getting ready for a third one here with about 24 minutes left to go in the match. That's how Jeff very clearly wants things to go.
Yes.
And the Ruinous Path in that game looked a little weird.
A little bit.
At the beginning.
Then we saw the Plague come down.
Yeah.
And he was able to effectively pressure the Planeswalkers.
So let me ask you this. We see a Virulent Plague has a huge effect on that game. Mm-hmm. You see the sideboard options here for each player. Drogon's Command predictably goes to the sideboard, but you've seen Kalidas. You know your opponent has Sylvan Advocate. You know they have Virulent Plague. Do you bring back Drogon's Command?
I doubt it.
Yeah?
Yeah. We might see Jessup hedge a little bit, where he might have brought in the 2 Secure the Waste, and now he's like, maybe I don't want both of these. You know, he doesn't want to get locked out of the game by this Virulent Plague, so he'll diversify his deck a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't think Drogon's Command is particularly good against this deck, but I do think it has some functionality just because it's Drogon's Command.
Yep.
You know, it's just a good card that does good things, so you're going to find the ability to play it in most instances. I guess the question is just how much do you care about Virulent Plague when it had such a huge effect on that game?
Yeah, potentially Jessup could bring 1 or 2 of them back in.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if he brought in the full complement of 4 of them.
Yeah, I would be surprised about that as well. I think he can have a couple copies after sideboard, but we'll see. As the game does play out, both players shuffling, so we'll very quickly talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale that is taking place. It ends Monday at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time, so make sure you do head over there and check out how you can get up to 50% off select promotional cards like Damnation, Scavenging Ooze, Faithless Looting, Battered Skull, and a whole bunch more. I know Craig is eyeing up that Damnation.
Well, it's funny. My wife was actually listening to us yesterday while we were talking about this.
Smart.
And
like that.
I don't think this sale ends Monday anymore. I think it's over now because she just bought everything for me.
Oh, we're fresh out, so we need a new graphic.
Well, I mean, she was just like, oh, he wants some nice goodies? I'll take care of him.
She's a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you know, man. You did well. Just Craig actually has all the promotional items, so you can go to craigkrempels.com. And are you giving up to 50% off select promotional cards? Or?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned craigkrempels.com. She actually made a Facebook page for me, a fan page.
Okay.
And she's upset that I'm not promoting the page more.
Well, you gotta be loud about this stuff, man.
So I was hoping that my co-host could plug my page.
And is it facebook.com/craigkrempels?
That's probably what it is. I didn't make the page.
You don't know what your own page is. Great. This is working out really well. We do know that StarCityGames.com has a weekly sale ending on Monday. Get up to 50% off select promotional cards. We'll have a new sale for you guys at 11 a.m. Monday morning. These players take a look at their opening hands. We'll see if they can keep 7 cards or not, as they have all tied it up. Andrew Jessup will be on the play.
I can't wait to play with those Damnations.
Maybe with your Obzon deck in Modern. I know you like Obzon.
I do.
It's a good deck. Andrew giving it a long look here. He's going back. Jeff is staying. And we'll learn a little bit more about the player who's staying with their opening hand. That is Jeff Hoogland. 8-0-1 right now. Number 1 on our Player of the Year leaderboard. Jerry Thompson nipping behind him, but the 25-year-old from Bloomington, Illinois, with his 13 open top 8s, 1 invitational top 8 as well. No wins for Jeff just yet, but you have to imagine with how well he does and his consistency, a win is inevitable.
Yeah, he's really committed this year.
Yeah.
He wants it. He's got the fire, and he's going for it. So he's traveled here with his family.
Yep.
He's going to hang out with them all week, travel with the family to another event next week.
Yeah, he's going to Dallas, Texas, driving. He drove here from Illinois, and we're in Orlando, so that's not a short one.
Yep.
And then after that, he's going to spend the weekend in Disney and Universal and all that stuff with his 2 kids and his wife, and then he's going to drive to Texas for that Open, which is Modern, which is basically a specialty, and then drive back up to Bloomington, Illinois, which is kind of a circle-ish. Not great at that. What I do know is it's long.
Yeah, Polygon or something.
Yeah, it's long. But if he's committed, we do know that.
But yeah, and it's not just the events that he travels to. He's regularly streaming.
Oh, he's always playing Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's for sure.
he knows how to cast a spell.
Yeah. And he's always doing things his way. I was on seasons past. He's basically taking black, white, and splash green into it.
Yes.
He likes having Hissing Quagmire, Sylvan Advocate. Previous builds of his deck did play Tireless Tracker, though it doesn't look like he has that this weekend.
Yeah, no Tireless Trackers this weekend. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a compromise. If he wants his Dark Petitions to produce mana, he can't be playing that many creatures.
Shambling Vents in a Swamp is where Jeff starts. Andrew Jessup, a couple copies of Canopy Vista.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen any discard spells out of Jeff in the early game.
Yeah, no Transgress, no Duress, none
Yeah.
of that stuff just yet. Sylvan Advocate's going to bite the dust to the ultimate price that Jeff does have. Jeff picked up a copy of Grasp of Darkness, a Llanowar Wastes, and now a Morph. So it looks as though Jeff has brought in his Den Protectors, which, given how grindy this Magic can be, not too much of a surprise.
You don't think that's a 4/4 lifelinker or something?
I don't know, no.
That's in Abzan colors.
That's true. I'm going to guess that's not like Abzan Guide or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, that's just my best guess.
Shot in the dark.
Yeah. Oh, Declaration in Stone. Oh, look at that. A Den Protector. Believe it or not. Shocking.
Yeah.
Truly shocking.
Well, I'll work on my guesses.
Yeah. It's not Absent Guide for a number of reasons.
A variety of reasons.
Legality is one.
Okay.
Card quality is another. A good limited card, though.
Not bad.
Give it that. Sylvan Advocate in for 2. Nope. Dead immediately. Grasp into Darkness. There's another Sylvan Advocate. Andrew is Sylvan Advocate flooded.
He is. Not a terrible place to be, but
No.
it's not the Planeswalker start that he would want.
These games look a lot different.
Well, and Jeff's just spot removal lines up so well with creatures, to whereas if it was Planeswalkers, it would be much harder for him.
Ultimate price right away, which I like, because you don't have to worry about Avis in that way. Jessup with land 5. He'll pass the turn back over to Jeff. Jeff's going to draw. Let's see what his play is going to be. Sylvan Advocate. And now here's Archangel Avison. Jeff has Anguish Unmaking. I'll pay 3 left to take care of that.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're at 20.
Yeah.
You got a lot of life to work with.
Jeff down to 17. Andrew's way. Hangerback Walker, Den Protector. That's the grip here for our lone 9-0.
Yep, and he can't rebuy the Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Exiled.
3 Advocates and Declaration Stone in the graveyard. Those are the options for the Den Protector at this moment.
Ooh.
It's a morph.
Abzan Guide.
Yes. Exalted Angel.
Ooh.
That's a nice one.
Yeah,
an oldie but a good.
Yeah, you're going back.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a good limited card? That one was a problem.
Yeah, it's before my time.
Yeah.
Before my time. Two mana. The Grasp. Jeff must have so much removal that he's willing to make a play like this. Unmorph. Get back. Declaration Stone. In for 2 with the Advocate. Jessup's going to fall down to 18. The follow-up here for Jeff is Virulent Plague. Let's go Jessup's way.
And that Plague is just always so good.
I think... Okay, Andrew did draw a copy of Gideon.
Yeah, and he had the Hangerback Walker in his hand.
Mm-hmm. There's Gideon. Excuse me, there's Hangerback Walker. 2 counters. Pass it back over to Jeff. Jeff is still on the hunt for land 6.
Yeah.
I think he found it. Yeah, he did. Canopy Vista. Enters the battlefield on tap because of the 2 basics. 4/5 coming on in. There's Languish, post-combat. Hangerback Walker dies. Doesn't leave any Thoppers behind, given the Virulent Plague. Jeff will pass the turn back. Jessup in some trouble. Virulent Plague caused me a lot of problems last game and starting to cause some problems this game.
And we talk about how consistent the green-white token stack is.
Yep.
We can see what a problem it is when they don't have that consistent start.
Yeah. The first couple of games we saw Advocate and Nissa and Gideon, stuff
Yep.
like that. This game we haven't, and it's a world of difference.
No Oath of Nissa. That's what smooths out all of their draws.
It really is. Heck of a card for this deck. There is a Nissa. It's not the Oath. It's the Vastwood Seer searching out a basic forest. Declaration in Stone, Gideon in hand here for Andrew. Curious if he wants to cast Declaration in Stone. He will. Right in a Jeff's 2 open mana, too.
Yeah, it's not what he wants to do, but he's got to use his own lands efficiently as well. And staring down a 4/5 and multiple creature lands that get huge, just got to do it.
Yep. Shambling Vent's coming across with authority. Jeff will deal 2, gain 2. Now, the problem here for Jeff, I think his entire hand is lands as he plays another Shambling Vent. I think.
Looks like a second Plague in his hand.
Okay. Nissa going to come across for 2.
Players, welcome to round 2.
Jeff down to 17.
Minutes. You may begin.
Andrew, he's thinking Evolutionary Leap. He's got it. And now it's Gideon. No Night Ally to make. He'll just plus it and pass the turn back. Jeff will untap. Swamp. It's actually a Ruinous Path in hand.
That's a much better one.
Yes, it is. Take that down. This land turns into a 4/4, and now he'll attack for 4. So Jessup is down to 8. That was important. Jessup will draw.
He also had the option of killing the Nissa and then attacking
Gideon
the
down
Gideon
to 1. Yeah.
if he wanted to go that route, but looks like he wanted to get some damage in. I probably would have given it a little more thought. The Nissa flipping is potentially troublesome.
Yeah, it's card advantage engine.
Yeah. But Jeff does have a 4/4 creature now and a couple of creature lands over there just waiting to be fired up as well.
Yep. Andrew going to come across for 2. Jeff's life total so high, just going to fall down to 15. See what this is. Hangerback Walker. No real sense in doing it for more than 1, given the virulent play that's on the battlefield. Jeff will quickly untap.
Well, a bigger walker could potentially trade with a creature land.
That's true. There's a swamp. Hoogland going reaching for those creature lands right away. Quagmire, Vents, and Llanowar Waste are coming in.
And that's the power of Jeff's deck is that he gets to play 8 creature lands.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why he likes this deck so much, is that because he does get Shambling Vent and he does get Hissing Quagmire. Here's Archangel Avacyn. He saw Andrew go by Jamoko's command.
Yep.
We were curious if he was going to bring it back in, if he
Yep.
left any in to begin with. We have the answer to that question.
Well, and Jeff's been kind of cagey. He could have just run that second Plague out there, but he's keeping it in his hand, which if Jessup had drawn the command, he would use it to burn off the Plague, and Jeff would have another one immediately just slam onto the table.
Nissa coming in. Nope. I was kidding.
Maybe.
I was kidding.
I could attack.
All right, in for 2. Hoogland down to 15. Land. Transformation. Sage Animist has arrived. Probably has to make the 4/4. That's actually a 2/2.
Yep.
Yep.
Which isn't terrible.
No, it's not.
He does have the leap on the board.
Jeff's draw. Another land.
Here, the second Virulent Plague just gets rid of the 4/4.
It does. All right, now all he's working with is a swamp and a Llanowar Waste. So this is interesting here, because Jeff is starting to draw lands at the wrong time. That's a little bit worrisome.
I would say only a little bit. Jessup still needs to be careful at 4 life, and the more lands that Jeff draws, it gives him the ability to fire up even more creature lands.
It does. It does. But Jeff also knows that his opponent has Archangel Avacyn in hand. So.
Yep.
Only one variant that played in Jeff's deck, by the way. 075.
Okay, it looks like that wasn't a second plague in his hand. I was mistaken.
So for Jeff, he plays a land, and now he just passes the turn back because he doesn't have a good attack to make. When he knows his opponent is Archangel Avacyn, there's just not a great place to go. Now we have to figure out, does Andrew want to play Archangel Avacyn now? It looks like the answer is no.
Yeah, Andrew had a whole series of plays that he could consider there. He could play the Archangel, sacrifice Ashaya if he wanted to. The Angel would transform, dealing a bunch of damage to the opponent. He can choose to sit on the Angel for a turn. He could sacrifice Ashaya and then decide whether or not he wants to play the Angel.
Instead, he just decided not going to play it at all. So this felt like a game that Jeff was in pretty good control of.
Yep.
A lot of removal early on. Virulent played to stop the tokens, took care of some planeswalkers thanks to Ruinous Path. But now it's starting to slip a little bit.
Yeah, he still has some big draw steps, but a couple lands in a row have made it difficult for him.
That's a hangerback walker on 1. With 5 mana still available for Archangel Avacyn, so Jessup will just pass the turn back over to Hoogland. Hissing Quagmire for Jeff, just another land. All he can do is pass the turn back. This is getting tough here for Hoogland. Back to Jessup. Nissa goes up. Well, Plains will enter the battlefield from that plus ability.
And we see if Jessup had just deployed that Avacyn, he's missed a couple attack steps here.
Yeah, 8 points of damage, maybe 12?
Yeah.
I understand why. I understand he's being very careful.
Well, and with the evolutionary leap on the board, there's a good chance he could just go find another one if he needed to.
When's he going to pull the trigger on the Avacyn? That's the question. You have to imagine it's going to be soon. Looks like Jeff picked up a copy of Ruinous Path. There it is. I'm also really curious to see what land he's going to target with the Awaken. If he wants to maybe make a Shambling Vent or Hissing Quagmire a little bit bigger. But the way he's tapped and the way he's reaching for that swamp, he's going to make that into a 4/4. So he's going to take care of Nissa with Ruinous Path.
Yeah, and we went over it yesterday. The Shambling Vent or the Hissing Quagmire wouldn't get its base power and toughness plus an additional 4.
So for Shambling Vent and Hissing Quagmire, they'll be base 4/4s, and then you activate them, turn them into a 2/3, and they'll have 4 counters. So those get bigger.
Oh, because it's the layering works the other way.
Correct. For Westville Abbey, it's a negative. For Shambling Vent, Hissing Quagmire, it's a positive.
I can't keep up with this.
I know, rules are tough. Rules are tough. Confusing game.
Every time I open my mouth, it's just wrong.
Right now, what we do know is Jeff has 2 4/4s out there. That Swamp and those Unarmored Wastes have been awoken. And now he'll just simply pass the turn back. So, Hangerback Walker is going to turn into a 2/2. And now an Archangel Avacyn's finally going to come down. We head back Jessup's way. He'll draw a card. Couple of lands along with Declaration and Stone in hand. Archangel Avacyn's going to come across for 4 in the air. Jeff's going to fall down to 11. Declaration in Stone is going to go after Llanowar Wastes. That'll be exiled. Just going to float a mana. Very smart. Make sure he's being efficient with his mana so he can draw a card off the clue. Time to untap. It's time to draw.
Looks like a whole lot of lands.
It does.
Maybe a green card in there.
Yeah, I think maybe Sylvan Advocate, which actually isn't bad right now because those creature lands get so big. So there's Advocate. Can he fire up 2 creature lands this go? Here comes Shambling Vent. There's Llanowar Waste. Here comes Hissing Quagmire.
And those are big boys.
Yes, they are. This looks like a pretty good attack for Jeff this turn.
It does, but that evolutionary leap.
That's what can make things scary. Here comes an attack with all 3 creatures. Shambling Vent a 4/5, Hissing Quagmire a 4/4 with Death Touch, and then that Swamp is actually currently a 6/6. 4 counters on it, of course, but Sylvan Advocate being very beneficial. This is the power of creature lands. This is how Jeff normally gets his games done. You see the blocks lined up here. After the blocks are made before damage is dealt, Jessup's going to start using Evolutionary Leap. Den Protector is the first find.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is. Second one. Sacrifice Hangerback Walker. Tokens will be made.
Some tokens, yeah.
Tokens will die. Thanks to Virulent Plague, Sylvan Advocate has been found. Archangel Avacyn is going to trade, it appears, with the Hissing Quagmire. Maybe not. Nope. So, activate this again.
Yeah, Jeff has more man lands, creature lands in reserve. So trading with the Quagmire doesn't actually make any progress for him.
Yeah.
Jeff will still have the same number of creatures to attack with next turn.
To Jessup. Nissa. Voice of Zendikar. Plants are no bueno. Don't like those right now.
You're not a big plant fan?
Not right now. Problem for Jessup. He's only got so much mana to work with.
Yeah, I wonder if he skipped a land drop at any point in this game.
Maybe.
And if he did, he's kind of getting punished here by the glut of cards in his hand.
Andrew going to do the math now.
Yeah, he knows he's got to be able to stop four threats next turn.
Yep. That doesn't take into account if Jeff has something good in his hand.
Yep.
Who knows?
A removal spell.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, one way that Jessup would go is it could involve Den Protector unmegamorphing and getting back Declaration Stone, but I just don't think he has enough mana to do that and something else relevant.
Yeah.
He's taking a look. Gideon down there. Here's Hangerback Walker for 1. Sacrifice that. What's he looking for? More importantly, what's he going to find? Nissa. How much does that help?
Not a lot.
Yep,
No.
Not enough, that's for sure. Jeff Hoogland's going to win this match here over Andrew Jessup, 2-1. Abzan Seasons Past will take care of the very powerful green-white tokens, and the only undefeated player left in the room is number 1 on our SCG Tour Player of the Year race. That's Jeff Hoogland.
And we saw the creature lands. Jeff was so flooded out that game.